The Philippine Stock Exchange is the only equities exchange in the country. It is one of the oldest stock exchanges in Asia, tracing its roots from the establishment of the Manila Stock Exchange in 1927 and the Makati Stock Exchange in 1963. The two exchanges were unified in 1992 to form the PSE we know today. It currently maintains a trading floor at the PSE Tower in Bonifacio Global City, Taguig City. The PSE is a venue for companies to raise capital for business expansion. As of end 2020, there are 272 listed companies at the PSE. The PSE also serves as the marketplace for investors looking for equity-based financial instruments. It helps investors build their wealth as stock investments have the potential to grow over time. Investors make money in the stock market through price appreciation and dividends. The PSE helps maintain a fair and transparent market through its continuing disclosure requirements for listed companies. Meantime, its independent subsidiary, the Capital Markets Integrity Corporation, oversees and regulates trading participants. Trading at the PSE is open Monday to Friday except on holidays. The PSE currently observes shortened trading hours from 9:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. Investors who would like to invest in stocks will need to open an account with any of the 126 accredited stock brokerage firms. Visit the PSE website at www.pse.com.ph or follow our official social media accounts to know more about investing in the stock market. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the PSE Stock Market webinar. Our topic for you this afternoon is Back to Basics. We have two presentations for you. I will be discussing the basics of stock market investing, and my guest speaker, which I will introduce later, will give a presentation about investor rights and protection. So today we will cover Investing 101, basics of stock market. So I will just talk about four things: why you need to save and invest, what are stocks, why invest in stocks, and how to invest in stocks. So we all have these hashtag goals, yung mga iba-iba nating goals sa buhay. So some may be thinking of self-improvement or probably career advancement. Iba sa atin are probably thinking of buying their dream car, or yung iba would like to build their dream home, Yung iba naman, travel goals. So hashtag travel goals. And the others are probably thinking of settling down, getting married, and then raising a family. So kung ano man yung ating yung mga milestones sa buhay, no, yung ating mga hashtag goals, we have to prepare for these. And we have to prepare for the expenses, of course, that will come with these milestones. Say for example, in a dream vacation. So if you're planning for a dream vacation, so ngayon, no, hindi pa tayo makapagbakasyon dahil pandemic, marami pang travel restrictions. So probably the good time. It's a good time to start saving up for your dream vacation. Para after the COVID-19 pandemic, and hopefully we survive this, pwede na tayo mag-travel at handa na tayo for our dream vacation. So say just for the purpose of discussion, you want to set aside a 10-day budget for two, no, sa vacation, 240,000 pesos. So say you want to save up for that 5 years. So 5 years, so that's around 4,000 per month. Okay, so you set aside 4,000 per month for 5 years, and you can save up 240,000 for your dream vacation. So finally, after 5 years, ayan, nakapag-save up ka na ng 240,000. So ready na tayo. Let's book the airfare and book the hotels and look at the travel itineraries. And while you're at it, you realize, oh my God, yung dating 240,000 na dream vacation, medyo tumaas na, nagmahal, And well, especially now, no, presyo ng mga bilihin talagang mas lalong tumataas because we're coming from a low base last year. Ito yung tinatawag nating inflation. So inflation is a phenomenon that happens every day. So this is a part of our lives, no? So basically what inflation does to your money is yung pera na tinabi mo today will not hold the same value tomorrow. Kasi guys, you see over time, prices of goods and services, they tend to rise. tumataas talaga yung mga presyo ng mga bilihin. Bakit? Well, yung factors of production, yung sweldo ng labor para magawa yung goods and services, or even the raw materials, tumataas eh. Or even pwede din siyang demand driven, no? So habang nakakaluwag tayo sa buhay, while we are um, upgrading our lifestyle because of increasing income, we tend to have demand for goods and services that we cannot afford before. So increase in demand for certain goods and services will result in an increase in the price of those goods and services. So, diba? Sa economics, ganyan. Um, higher demand will result in the higher price. So habang tumataas ang presyo ng mga bilihin, yung purchasing power or yung value ng pera natin over time bumababa. So basically, ang inflation, sinasaktan niya yung pera nating nakatabi, yung mga savings natin. So this is what inflation does to our savings. It hurts it. So kung dati, yung 500 pesos, looks like this, I remember, fresh grad ako at the time, 500 pesos can buy 25 kilograms of rice. So fast forward to 10 years later, iba na itsura ng 500 pesos. You go to the grocery store now, you can buy probably if not 5 kilos. Kung mas mura, meron pa sigurong 10 kilos of rice na halagang 500 pesos. So the same pera, pero it's buying less amount of 10 years from now, 2031, I'm not sure what 500 pesos will look like then, kung papel pa rin yan or baka coin na lang. Pero one thing is for sure, it will buy less amount of rice. One of the richest stock market investors, kilalang kilala internationally, si Mr. Warren Buffett said that if you don't find the way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. So while it is true that we work hard for our money, that we really earn our money, pinaghihirapan natin yan, we also have to have this shift in the mindset that we need to make that money na pinaghirapan natin also work for us. So how can we make money work for us? Well, we can set up our own business, become entrepreneurs, or we can invest this money to grow, And iba-ibang investment alternatives ang available dyan. There are so many kinds of investment alternatives out there. Depende yan sa tao. So kung anong magandang investment na bilhin. You see, investing is very personal. Hindi siya parang one size fits all na damit, So it's bespoke to the person based on the person's personality. If you're the conservative type of investor, what you really want to do is to protect your capital, protect your capital, and para sa iyo peace of mind is top priority. So yung gusto mo yung nakakatulog ka ng mahimbing sa gabi. So you're willing to forgo higher returns as long as your money is invested in low risk options. So yung mga ganitong klase ng investors may want to look at yung mga investment products na mga deposit products, particularly time deposits. So time deposits, they give around 3.75 to 4% annually. So there are also regular savings account now that give around the same interest rates per year, sa mga digital banks. So you may also want to look at those products. Anyway, savings accounts naman ng digital banks are also insured by the PDIC up to 500,000 pesos. So the next level of investor is the moderate investor. Ito, yan, parang ako yan, moderate lang, So somewhere in the middle. So balances risk and reward. So somehow capital protection, while at the same time, kung pwede, magkaroon ng regular income from the investment. And okay lang sa kanya yung may uncertainty sa return, basta sakto lang, yung moderate. So again, moderate investors are advised to put their money in fixed income products. These are mga products of indebtedness issued either by the government or by private corporations. So yan yung mga tinatawag nating government securities, yung mga treasury bonds, yung mga kung may mga naririnig kayo, yung mga RTBs, retail treasury bills, yan. These are mga fixed income products issued by the government. We also have yung mga private like corporate bonds. So if you want to invest in those products. So dahil sila ay instrument ng pagkakautang, so may liability sa atin bilang investors ang mga issuers. So merong regular returns tayong matatanggap in the form of coupon payments. Now, the next level and the extreme level is the aggressive investor. So kanina napansin ko sa Facebook, may mga sumasagot na they are aggressive investors. So aggressive investors, they prioritize capital appreciation. So ang gusto talaga nila is growth. Investing their money for the long term, no? Long term para mapalaki yung pera. So okay lang sa kanila yung short-term fluctuations, di naman nila tinitignan yan. Pero for those actively trading, they see the dips, no, the downswings or even bad news as opportunities for bigger gains. So, yan. Conservative, moderate, aggressive. So, regardless kung anong klaseng investor personality meron ka, well, una sa lahat, you have to check kung ano ka pala muna. Are you conservative? Are you aggressive? Or are you somewhere in the middle? So, if you don't know yet or hindi mo pa na-determine, we have a short video uploaded also sa Facebook. Siguro mga 2 to 3 minute video yan that talks about investor personality type. So, watch that video. It will guide you. There's guide questions there, 5 questions, multiple choice, madaling sagutin. Wala namang math, so hindi mahirap. And after that, yung mga sagot ninyo, merong corresponding na points yon. So depending on the score na makukuha, ma-determine na natin kung tayo ay conservative, moderate, or aggressive investor. So yeah, as I was saying earlier, so regardless of our investor personality type, we have to take note that we need to build a healthy investment portfolio. And a healthy investment portfolio only has legitimate financial investments. And we can start with the short term. You look at savings, no? Importante ang savings eh. While it is true that savings is not equal to investing, totoo yan, but having a savings account and setting aside money there is important, especially for the short term, no, for our emergencies. So typically, a savings account will give you a return of about 0.5% per year. Hindi masyado malaki. Now, moving on to the medium term, you look at the fixed income. Ayan, a good example would be government securities. Almost risk-free ang government securities. So on a 5-year term, government securities will give returns of about 2.5% per year. Now, for the long term, again, ulitin ko lang, long term. So, yan, you may want to look at stocks. Okay, stocks in the last 10 years, from 2009 to 2019, nagbigay yan ng compounded annual return, and compounded annual growth rate of about close to 10%. So, very very strong performance, very impressive. Without debate, no, yan naman talaga ang best performing na investment type out there. So, but again, do we put it all in stocks or do we diversify? Well, depending yan sa ating investor personality type. So, again, before even investing, set up your emergency fund first. So, for me, ako ang emergency fund personally is around 6 months of your living expenses. So, say for example, you're spending 50,000 a month for everything, yung utilities, yung expenses sa bahay, food, etc. So, times 6, you set up a savings account na hindi mo ginagalaw. No, that's your emergency fund. Tapos, of course, you need to have your mga insurance in place, health insurance, life insurance. Kahit hindi pa yun fully paid, basta nababayaran na natin, nakaset up na emergency fund, then you can start considering investing for the medium term and the long term. Now, yung investment naman na combination ng medium and long term forms part of your growth fund. So here, ladies and gentlemen, you can see in the slide the image of a healthy investment portfolio. So say if I invested 100,000 pesos in Philippine stocks 10 or 20 years ago, magkano na ba magiging halaga niya today or thereafter? So, well, in the next couple of slides, I'm going to give you a comparison of the performance of investments in time deposit or investments in treasury bills or investments in stocks, or for this case, the Philippine Stock Exchange Index. So here you can see, that well, I'll just turn off my video para makita ng buo sa yung slide there. So here you can see that over time talaga, uh, stocks outperform other investment alternatives by folds, no? Especially during 2009 to 2019, considered one of the longest bull runs also in the stock market. So just to better appreciate this chart, let's look at the yellow line first. No, the yellow line shows you inflation. So basically, yung 100,000 pesos mo noong 2009 would need to be 134,000 in 2019 for it to buy the same amount of goods and services 10 years ago. So kung nilagay natin yung pera natin say sa time deposit, yan yung blue line, nag-grow lang yan to 124,000. So teka, medyo short pa, no? Hindi ka umabot doon sa kailangan mo to be able to buy the same amount of goods and services. Now, if you invested that money completely in treasury bills, nag-grow lang yan up to 131,000 pesos. So, pwede na, pero medyo kulang pa rin. Eh, what if nilagay mo sa stocks? Ay, kung nilagay mo yan sa stocks, it would have doubled already, even greater than doubled. So, to 256,000 pesos. So, you have beaten inflation by folds, no? And at the same time, investment in stocks outperformed the investment in treasury bills and time deposit. The same din ba ang situation if we take another 10 years step back? Well, let's see. There. Medyo iba na yung storya dito. Well, ang pinapakita lang naman sa atin dito is that while stocks uh, typically, no, over time outperforms other investment alternatives, there are also times na hindi rin siya outperforming. So may time din naman na underperforming siya. Well, a good example will be just like last year, no? Noong 2020, COVID-19 pandemic, nag-crash yung market noong March, bumagsak yung mga stocks. So same goes, no, in the past. So history has shown that in times of crisis, bumabagsak ang stocks, but also history has shown us that stocks have the capability to recover after every crisis. So you can see here. Ito, tanda-tanda ko yung 2008, 2009. So yan yung property bubble na nangyari sa States. No? So naapektuhan lahat. So, but still, over time, investments in equities tend to outperform. So ano ang key takeaway natin dito? So basically, let's not put our eggs in one basket. Let's diversify. So ang question is, gaano kalaking porsyento ilalagay ko sa stocks? Gaano kalaking porsyento ilalagay ko sa bonds? Or gaano kalaki ang porsyento ilalagay ko sa, say, time deposit? Well, self-check ka. Tignan natin kung anong klaseng personality type meron tayo. So are we, again, conservative, moderate, or aggressive? Then you can determine how much of your portfolio should be allocated into riskier products, but yun na nga, high rewarding, or how much of your portfolio must be allocated to safer products, but lower returns. Okay, so maraming investment products out there, iba-ibang klaseng investment instruments, but today, ang ating pag-uusapan ay stocks. So, what are stocks? Stocks or equities. So, think of a company, it's like a pizza. Bigla ako nagutom. So, a pizza with a lot of slices. So, wherein one slice is equal to one share. So, when an investor buys into that pizza, so the investor buys slices into that pizza. So, slice which is equal to one share represents units of ownership within that company. So basically, when you buy slices into that company, you become a stockholder. And when you're a stockholder, you're a part owner of that big company. So kung kayo ay may pagmamay-ari na ng kumpanya na yan, entitled na kayo na magkaroon ng share sa income ng company na yan and also to participate in decision-making process of that company. Kasi part owner ka na eh. May right ka na over sa income ng companies na yan. So there are two ways kung paano kumikita sa stock market. So the first is through price appreciation. So ito yung tinatawag natin where investors buy low and then sell high. So tinitignan ng mga investors kung may mga stocks na oversold or undervalued and inaaral nila at sa tingin nila mura itong stock na to, so bibili sila. And then when the stock price starts to recover, tumaas na, may kita na sila, then bibenta na nila. So yung difference between the buying and the selling, yun ang nagiging kita ng ating mga stock traders or investors. Now, another way to make money in the stock market is through dividends. So ito, personally, I prefer this more. So This is when investors invest in companies that are profitable and have shown a track record of distributing their profits to their investors. So year in, year out, nagdi-distribute sila ng dividends. So there are three types of dividends. You have the cash dividend, stock dividend, and property dividend. So yung cash dividend, this is X amount of pesos for every share an investor owns. Yan yung cash. No? Yung stock dividend naman, X amount of additional shares for every share that an investor owns. Now, yung property dividend is a little similar to stock dividend. Ang pinagkaiba lang is shares ng ibang kumpanya. So say you are an investor of company A, yung company A is listed, no, traded in the PSE, and company A owns another company. So tawagin natin company B. So nag-decide yung company A na mag-distribute ng shares of company B sa mga stockholders ng company A. So yun, yung stockholders ng company A eventually will also become stockholders of company B. So that's property dividend. So here at the PSE, meron pa tayong isang binabantayan, yung tinatawag nating index, the Philippine Stock Exchange Index. So what is an index? This is our way to monitor the performance and the direction of the market. So instead of looking at all the 272 companies and how they did today, we just look at the index. So like today, the PSEI closed at 7,019.18 points. Okay, it's up by 115.43 points or 1.67%. So tumaas siya from yesterday. So what does this mean? First, let me explain the index. No? So the index is made up of the 30 of the biggest and most actively traded companies. So what we do is we have a department, a research department that reviews the composition of our index every 6 months. So tinitignan nila kung sino yung mga pwedeng madagdag sa index natin. So every 6 months, i-review yan. So looking at the companies here in the screen, you can see that these are big companies. These are very recognizable brands. You know? So for beginner investors, ayan, advisable to invest in companies muna that are index stocks kasi they are what we call the blue chip stocks. No? Ano blue chip? So we call them blue chip because to those na naglalaro ng poker or say games in the casino, I'm not saying that it's good to play in the casino, but anyway, most of the time yung chips, no, iba-ibang kulay niyan, yung kulay blue holds the highest value, so hence the name blue chip stock. So blue chip stocks are companies with strong brand recall, o di ba? You think of fast food, isip mo Jollibee, yung chicken joy ng Jollibee. If you think of property companies, yan na, may mga top of mind ka na. Ayala, DMCI, Mega World. So banks, the big banks, BDO, BPI, Metrobank, etc. So household names na sila. So very familiar ang tao sa brand nila. And they have sustained demand. So year in, year out, maganda ang business. So tuloy-tuloy ang kanilang sales. They have a lion's share of the sector, so they are major players in the industry. And finally, they have a proven track record, to weather any economic condition. So they have proven resiliency. So even last year, pandemic. So I mean, even now, we're still in the pandemic, pero last year was the height of it. You can see that even the big companies were greatly affected by this crisis. So doon mo makikita kung sino talaga sa kanila. Yung may magandang business model, yung may magandang business na I would say defensive. So in the good times and in the bad times, kumikita yung negosyo nila. So why is it good to invest in stocks? Naintindihan ko na anong stocks, shares of ownership within a company. So pag bumili ako, meron akong entitlement sa kanilang income, na magkaroon ako ng share sa kanilang income, or dahil actively traded yung presyo, pag tumaas ang presyo, pwede kong ibenta, kikita din ako doon. Alam ko na rin ang index, naintindihan ko na, no? So ang index nagpapakita sa akin ng direction ng market, up, down, or sideways ba yan? So bakit maganda mag-invest sa stocks? Well, there are a lot of benefits to investing in stocks, but I'll give you three of my favorite benefits. Number one is the liquidity feature of it. So ano ba yung liquid, or being liquid? So ang stock investment kasi is easily, you can easily turn it into cash. So pag kailangan mo yung pera mo, the market, sabi nga sa video kanina, is open Monday to Friday except on holidays. So palaging may trading. So you need to sell your shares. You can sell your shares as long as it's within trading hours. So after 3 days, you get the proceeds. So ganun kabilis ibenta. So if you need your money, you can sell it now. Yun nga lang, because it's actively traded, tumataas, bumababa, baka may chance na kung kailan mo kailangan yung pera mo, mababa siya. That's why ina-advise namin when you invest in stocks, you invest for the long term para hindi ka maging affected doon sa short term na paglikot ng presyo niya. Kasi kahit tignan mo, malikot siya in the short term, up, down, pero kung titignan mo yung long term, may trend. Yung trend niya, paakyat. And the next benefit is the transparency. No? So again, the continuing disclosure requirement. Yung mga companies natin, kailangan palagi nilang ina-update yung investing public about material information or material changes within the business. No? So nakikita ng mga investors kung ano ang nangyayari within the business. And how do you get access to this information? Through PSE Edge, and it's free. No, all you have to do is download the app. So PSE Edge is electronic disclosure generation technology. Diba? Liquid investment, madaling bilhin, madaling ibenta, walang minimum holding period. Tapos very transparent pa. Alam mo kung ano yung binibili mo, kung anong nangyayari doon sa binibili mo. And finally, these are you're buying into big companies, okay? Mga malalaking kumpanya na drivers of our economy. So basically, you are becoming owners or part of companies with na world class. No, they're run by professionals. They comply with the highest corporate governance standards. They follow international financial reporting standards. While it's good that you start your own business, okay din naman yan. No? Entrepreneurship is good. Pero kung di ka pa ready, ba't di ka muna makiride sa business success ng mga malalaki ng kumpanya? Okay, so hopefully, medyo naiintindihan na natin what a stock is, why it's good to invest in stocks. Now, let's go to the practical. How do we invest in stocks? So, yung how, madali lang eh. Actually, 3 easy steps lang to invest in the stock market. But before we proceed there, let me just give you an overview of the ecosystem. Paano ba tumatakbo ang isang stock market? So it all starts with companies, di ba? Like what the video said earlier. So companies, when they need capital for business, they raise that capital. So maraming sources of capital. So pwedeng either kunin nila yan through loan, mangutang sila sa mga banks, or mag-issue sila ng mga corporate bonds, yan, mga securities of indebtedness, or they raise their capital through equities, through private equity investors. Now, if they raise the capital through equity in a big stage, in a public scale, they do that through the PSE, and they do that through listing. So they list their company, they list their shares in the Philippine Stock Exchange, they sell the shares, distribute the shares to the public in exchange for capital. So investors buy shares from the company, so nag-i-invest na sila doon sa company na yon. They become part owners of that company. Now, these companies that conduct their equity share offering or equity fundraising for the first time are conducting what we call an IPO or initial public offering. So yan, pag nakakarinig kayo ng IPO, so these are basically companies na nag-delist sa PSE for the first time. So investors can participate in IPOs, even retail investors, open po sa inyo yan. Now, after the offer period, the shares are listed and then actively traded in the stock market. So investors who were able to buy, nakabili during the IPO, kung tumaas na yung presyo, di pwede na magbenta, kumita na sila. Or if they want to invest more, they can buy more. Now, for those investors naman na hindi po nakabili during the IPO, okay lang. Because they can buy in the secondary market. So yung secondary market naman, ito yung tinatawag nating stock market na. So in the stock market, the shares that are being bought and sold, yung nabibili at nabibentang shares dito, so between investors na yan. So nagba-buy and sell na fellow investors. So kung titignan mo, dito ang ikot ng trading. So buying investor, selling investor, buy and sell, palit ng shares. So naintindihan na natin ang trading. So what happens naman after trading? So say for example, bumili ako ng shares or nagbenta ako ng shares. Kailan ko ba makukuha yung pera ko? So yung clearing and settlement process natin happens in 3 days or tinatawag nating T+3. Okay? So we have our central clearing house or the SECP. So they serve as the intermediary in making the delivery upon payment of securities. So the SECP ensures that there is no default in the transaction. So basically, the buying broker delivers the cash and the selling broker delivers the shares. Okay? So yung shares, nasaan naman yung shares natin? So all the shares here are electronic, no? They are what we call scriptless. So the scriptless shares allows us to trade actively during trading hours. So kaya liquid ang mga investments natin, kaya mabilis siyang gumalaw dahil electronic siya. And they are safely stored in the Philippine depository, so the ating PDTC. So the PDTC acts as the custodian for scriptless securities. So you can see here, guys, in the slide, the entire stock market ecosystem. Now, at the PSE, there are a lot of equity-based financial products being traded. So, discuss ko lang sila isa-isa. Well, alam na natin kung ano yung shares of stock, no? Dalawang klase yan. May common, may preferred. So, these are basically units of ownership of a public corporation. Now, let me discuss to you yung exchange-traded fund. So, kung familiar na kayo sa mutual fund, basically, an exchange-traded fund is a mutual fund. Ang pinagkaiba niya lang sa typical na mutual fund is that itong exchange-traded fund, actively traded siya sa stock market. So, yung shares ng ETF company or the exchange-traded fund, you can buy and sell it at the stock market. It offers you yung feature ng mutual fund, which is the diversification. And at the same time, it offers you the feature of the stock, which is the liquidity. So liquidity and diversification, best of both worlds, you put it together, that is exchange-traded fund. And in addition, an exchange-traded fund is also considered an index fund because it's required to track an index. So right now, meron tayong isang exchange-traded fund na listed sa PSE, yung tinatawag nating First Metro Philippine Equity Exchange-Traded Fund, or the FMETF. So ang FMETF, they track the PSEI or the Philippine Stock Exchange Index. So if you listen to the earlier slides, ano ba yung PSEI? So the PSEI is composed of the 30 of the biggest and most actively traded companies. So basically, when you buy an ETF, you are instantly invested into these 30 companies. So diversified ka na bigla. All right? Now, another product is the dollar-denominated securities or the DDS. So these are securities also, shares of stocks that are listed, traded, and settled in US dollars. So useful siya for investors na may mga extra dollar savings, no? So instead of nakalagay lang sa savings, edi ilagay na natin sa stocks that are traded and earning dividends in US dollars. And finally, we have the Real Estate Investment Trust or the REIT. So one of the newest products ng PSE, we saw the first REIT listing last year, noong August 2020. Basically, what is a REIT? So, kung naiintindihan natin yung business ng owning a property and making money through that property. So, halimbawa, meron kang apartment building, tapos pinapaupa mo yung mga units, then you're making money in that apartment building, right? So, basically, yung mga companies na merong real estate assets and kumikita sila sa real estate asset na yon, pwede nilang i-list yung real estate assets na yon, yung basket of real estate assets na yon as a real estate investment trust. So through REIT, nagkakaroon yung investors ng opportunity to own real estates, malalaking real estates for a fraction of the price. Kasi you don't have to buy the entire building or the entire infrastructure. You just have to invest into the company that operates the asset. And REIT is a good source of income also, steady source of income for the investors kasi required sila na mag-distribute ng 90%, okay? 90% of their income annually as dividends to the stockholders. So, ayan, you may want to look at the REITs also if you're interested in investing in real estate. So, it's a good alternative to the real estate. O ito, balik na tayo sa how. So, in-explain ko lang yung ecosystem at saka yung mga products natin dito sa PSE. Just 3 things that you need to consider. Number 1, open an account. No? So, you need to open an account with the PSE accredited stockbroker. There are 126 active trading participants or stock brokerage firms here at the PSE. Opening a stock trading account is just like opening a bank account. No? Pero ang pinagkaiba, when you open a bank account, you open it for savings. When you open a stock trading account, well, you open it for purpose of investing in stocks or trading stocks. Now, if you're opening an online account, kasi merong online, may traditional, Pag online, you have to fund your account. So prepaid siya. So lagyan mo ng funds yung account. Pag may pondo na yung account, then you can start buying and selling stocks. See? 3 easy steps. Open an account, fund your account, and then start investing. Walang minimum holding period yan. So you can buy anytime. So trading at the PSE, again, we're open Monday to Friday except on holidays. So trading hours, so may iba-iba tayong market phases. So we observe shortened trading hours for now. We start at 9 o'clock. Okay, so at 9 o'clock, ang market phase natin is pre-open. So what happens during pre-open? During pre-open, participants can enter their orders, buying and selling orders. Pero wala pang namamatch. Wala munang matching of orders. So pasok lang ng pasok ng orders. Pwede ka rin mag-modify, pwede ka rin mag-cancel. Hanggang 9:15. Pag nag-9:15 na, no cancel period na yan. So basically, kung ano yung in-enter mo, yun na yun. Hindi mo na maka-cancel. Hindi mo na rin siya mamomodify. Now at 9:30 a.m., mag-open na ang market. So ang PSE trading engine, yung nakita nyo kanina sa ecosystem, yung gitna, so we have an automated trading engine that works very, very fast. High frequency, high volume transactions ang kaya niya. Ima-match niya lahat ng mga orders na pwedeng ma-match at the opening price. And from 9:30, tuloy-tuloy ang trading hanggang pre-close at 12:45. So pre-close, similar to pre-open, ganun din. You can enter orders pero walang namamatch. Pwede mag-cancel, pwede mag-modify. Pag nag-pre-close no cancel ka na, hindi na pwedeng mag-cancel or modify. Bakit tayo may no cancel period for the pre-open and the pre-close? Because this is the time when the trading engine computes and determine pag pre-open no cancel, the opening price. Pag pre-close no cancel, the closing price. Now at 12:50, mag-match na lahat ng orders at one price which we call the last traded price or the LTP. Hence we call this market phase trading at last or the runoff period. So the market closes at 1 o'clock for it to resume again at 9 o'clock the following day. All right? Next question sa akin, magkano naman ang minimum investment for the stocks? Okay. Minimum investment natin, ito maraming nalilito dito kasi ang akala nila, there's an absolute value. Magkano ba mag-start dyan? Baka naman mahal. 100,000 ba? 50,000? Baka naman 1,000,000. Well, linawin ko lang, may mga stockbrokers kasi, iba-iba yung kanilang account opening requirement. So, there's a minimum account parang minimum amount to open an account with them. Pero hindi pa yun yung minimum investment sa stock. So that's basically just to open your account. And then that money na binigay nyo sa kanila na to open the account, you can also use that to buy the stocks. Now the minimum investment for stocks depends on the stock that you want to buy. At nasa ang presyo ba siya? Anong presyo? What price range? And then what is the corresponding lot size for that particular price range based on the PSE board lot table that you're seeing in your screen right now. Let me give you a few examples. Baka sa examples, mas malinawagan tayo. Okay, so based on last traded price, ito as of today then, February 5, 2021, Metro Pacific, so MPI, this is also a blue chip stock. Diversified company, maraming businesses into infrastructure, meron din silang mga hospitals among others. So they closed today at 4.25. So sa 4.25 na presyo, they are in what range? They are in this range, 50 centavos to 4.99. So ang corresponding lot size niyan is 1,000. So basically 1,000 times 4.25, magkano yon? 4,250 plus applicable fees, yan ang minimum investment mo for MPI or Metro Pacific. Okay, let's give a few more examples. Lucitan Group. Okay, LT Group, they closed at 14.96. So nasa ang price range sila? Nandito sila sa 5 pesos to 49.95. So times 100. So basically 14.96 times 100, so 1,500 na kamo, minimum investment for Lucitan Group plus applicable fees. Yung mga fees in the next slide, I will show to you. Ayala Land, kung property naman ang gusto natin, property company, they close at 39.95. So again, same price range as LT Group. So minimum investment for Ayala Land is 3,995, close to 4,000 pesos. That's to buy 100 shares of Ayala Land. Then Universal Rubina, They are in the food food production business. So ayan, kung yung mahilig kayong uminom ng C2, ako favorite ko yung Cream O, ayan, yan. URC ang may gawa niyan, yung mga Jack and Jill snacks growing up. Biglang naalala ko as a kid eating Jack and Jill snacks. Anyway, going back to URC, they close at 146.50. Price range nila is 50 pesos to 9.99 na, no? So 10 shares ang required to buy Universal Robina. So 146.50 times 10. So basically 1,465, close to 1,500 minimum investment for URC. Then you have San Miguel Corporation. Ayan, if you've been watching the news recently, you can see yung SMC Infra, yung sila yung gumawa nung yung Skyway Stage 3 that connects the NLEX and SLEX. So very important project that is helpful to the economy. Ayan, company behind it is San Miguel Corporation. So yun, 128.90, no? So ayan, 50 to 999 din. So same range sila. So minimum investment is around 1,300 pesos. Ito, telco company. Ayan, during the pandemic, no, maraming nagkaroon ng demand for internet, stable internet. Dahil maraming work from home, maraming homeschool. So ayan, good yan for the telco business. So Globe closed at 2,026. So they're in the price range of over 1,000 pesos per share. So minimum investment for Globe, you need 5 shares to buy Globe. So 10,000 pesos. So there you have it. So minimum investment depends on the stock, magkano yung stock, and ano yung corresponding lot size nito. So let's go to transaction fees. These are the applicable fees. So broker's commission, it ranges, pero mostly ito na lang ang ginagamit nila. So 25 basis points or 1/4 of 1%. Ganun lang kaliit. Or 20 pesos. So 20 pesos yung minimum. Tapos may VAT yan, 12% on the broker's commission. Tapos may fee, yung clearinghouse at 0.01%. Napakaliit. PSE charges 0.005% for our services. So ang total buying transaction cost mo is 0.295%. Now, ang sales tax, applicable siya, yung tinatawag nating stock transaction tax sa selling order. So that's a little over 1/2 of 1%. So ang total selling transaction cost mo naman is 0.895%. So the entire cycle, buying and selling, is around 1.2%. Ganun kalit. Let me give you an example. So PSE is also a listed company. So itong gamitin natin for demonstration purposes. So PSE, say bumili ka ng 100 shares at 138 pesos. So the gross transaction is 13,800 plus the applicable fees. Broker's commission, 34 pesos and 50 centavos. VAT on commission, 4 pesos and 14 centavos. Then you have the SSCP fee at 1 peso and 38 centavos and the PSC fee at 69 centavos. So your total cost is 13,840.71. Now say tumaas na yung presyo niya to 157. Yun ang example ko dito. Yan, 157. So you sell it, your gross transaction, your gross selling is 15,700 less applicable fees. Broker's commission, 39.25. VAT on commission, 4.71. SSCP fee, 1.57. PSE fee, 79 centavos. And then the tax, 94.20. So yung net proceeds mo is 15,559.48. So yung kinita, yung net gain mo rito is basically your net proceeds minus your total cost. Okay. So there you have it, guys. Na-explain na natin yung why we need to save and invest, what are stocks, why it's good to invest in stocks, how, pinakita na rin natin, minimum investments, pati yung mga fees. If you want to start investing, maganda you keep on educating yourself. Always remember that. And equip yourself with very useful apps. And these are all free. Plug ko lang ulit. PSE Edge or the Electronic Disclosure Generation Technology. So lahat ng mga disclosures nandyan. You get the information firsthand through PSE Edge. It's free. Now, if you're interested in online trading, we also offer an online trading facility. We call it the PSE Tradex. You cannot directly get the service from us, pero you can get it from the brokers we enable. So may mga online brokers. So out of the 126, 32 sa kanila online. And most of them, or karamihan, are using PSE TradeX. Now, if you're interested to buy IPOs, no, sa mga parating na IPOs, I suggest you set up your PSE Easy account too. So open your account with the broker first and then set up your PSE Easy account. So PSE Easy is a web-based portal and mobile application that enables retail investors to subscribe to IPOs. Madali lang yan. Mag-register ka lang, select your broker, get your account verified. So once that's done, whenever there's an IPO, log in ka lang and then subscribe and then make the payment. Okay? So, yun, with that, I'd like to ask you if you're ready for the ride. No? It's really a cliche, investing in the stock market, it's like going on a roller coaster ride. But it's a very close comparison. So before, di ba, before ka umupo sa roller coaster, you ask yourself, do you really want to go through this? Are you sure? So before fastening your seatbelt, list down your financial objectives, and make sure to follow your plan. No? Have a plan and follow the plan. Don't follow the herd mentality. Wag magpapadala sa hype, especially sa social media. And in your investment, always take rational decisions. Don't let the volatility distract you. Always think long term. And if you're the aggressive type, then whenever there are downswings, then it's a chance for you to rebalance your portfolio with the hopes of probably making more money in the future. So there are a lot of factors that affect the prices of the stocks, no? Fundamental factors, technical factors, marami. But there are also factors that are beyond our control. Talagang external na lang sila. And we just also have to take note of these things because these things affect the stock market too. Like say geopolitical risks, US-China trade war or the tension in the West Philippine Sea, yan, affects the stock market. And of course, we have black swans, yung event that who would have thought that the world will shut down because of a virus? But it happened, right? So it also affected the market. And of course, economic cycles. So it happens, economies, they grow, they slow down, tapos they take a dip, and then they start again. So the key takeaway here is investing in stocks is again for the long term. All right? Invest for the long term and you will enjoy the benefits, the full benefits of stock market investing. And of course, looking ahead into the future, markets have a proven track record to recover from past crises. Nakita nyo naman. And you can check historical figures and data, and the numbers will support this claim. And of course, PSE and as well as the country is well positioned to take advantage of post-pandemic opportunities. So we always just have to, I know it's kind of funny, no pun intended, but stay positive. Yeah. So yun, positive outlook lang sa buhay. So, and of course, we want to thank our stakeholders. They remain integral to PSE's success. Our listed companies, our trading participants, and of course, you, the investing public. So thank you for continuously supporting the stock market. So with that, I end my presentation and allow me just to switch slides and introduce our next speaker. So our guest speaker for you this afternoon is the head of the Investigation and Enforcement Department of the Capital Markets Integrity Corporation, or the CMIC. So the CMIC is the subsidiary of the Philippine Stock Exchange, which regulates, oversees and regulates trading participants. So to give us a presentation about investor rights and protection, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Attorney Martin General. Good afternoon, Attorney.
Yes, Jai, good afternoon.
Okay, we're glad to have you with us this afternoon, and we're very looking forward to your presentation.
Okay, thank you. So we have been informed that there are also participants from other countries, no? So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This afternoon, I've been requested to discuss investors' rights and investor protection. So before we actually discuss those two matters, I'll be discussing briefly about our company, which is the Capital Markets Integrity Corporation. This is actually relevant or material to these two matters because, as mentioned earlier by John, we are the entity that regulates the trading participants or the brokerage firms of the Philippine Stock Exchange. So just a little history. We were incorporated in 2011, and in 2012 we were given a self-regulatory organization status by the SEC, or by the Securities and Exchange Commission. So having that status, we are able to formulate certain rules that must be complied with by our members, or the trading participants, or the brokerage firms. And relative to that, we also impose sanctions in cases of violations by the rules of those by those trading participants. So substantially, CMIC, CMIC is the Independent Audit, Surveillance, Investigation, Enforcement Unit of the Philippine Stock Exchange. So we are the watchdog of the PSE. Also, we have jurisdiction to investigate and resolve violations of the securities laws by trading participants, including cases involving trading-related irregularities and unusual trading activities. Our jurisdiction really involves the brokerage firms, but in a limited sense, we also exercise jurisdiction over issuers for trading-related irregularities and unusual trading activities. Okay, so how do we fulfill our functions? We have three core departments. We have the Investigation Enforcement Department, we have the Surveillance Department, and finally, we have the Audit and Compliance Department. So how do we fulfill, or how do we do our investigatory function? So recently, well, beginning in January of 2021, we have been receiving a lot of complaints against trading participants. So we have been receiving emails and also calls. So these customers actually ask for the procedures with regard to the filing of complaints. CMIC is the entity that receives those complaints and also resolves those. So we have actually a form which we call investor complaint form, which is available for downloading on our website, http://www.cmic.com.ph. And once you fill out those forms, you may submit those to CMIC through our email, and also you can also visit our office. So once we receive those complaints, we actually assess the merit of the allegations submitted by the customers or by the complainants. And if we determine that such complaints or allegations would justify the initiation of an investigation, we will request the concerned trading participant to submit a written explanation. And of course, upon receiving that written explanation, we may also request the customer or the complainant to file a reply to that written explanation by the trading participant. And also, in some cases, an informal hearing may be conducted, and after that, we will be finally issuing a resolution. Our resolution may actually involve a penalty imposed against the trading participants or against the brokerage firms. Some disciplinary actions may involve suspension, the imposition of a monetary fine, and also in some cases, we may also impose a written reprimand. Okay, so we also initiate cases. Usually, these are initiated by our surveillance department. The surveillance department monitors the market. So if there are certain instances of market manipulation, our surveillance department prepares a report, and there may be recommendations for or findings of violations committed by trading participants, by issuers, or sometimes by the beneficial owners or by the investors. We also initiate special cases. These special cases, these are the ones initiated when we deem that certain matters should be investigated, even in the absence of an investor complaint or by a case initiated by our surveillance department. And also we also handle other matters which may involve the interest of investors. Okay, so as stated earlier, for a certain case, there may be several violations. There may be violations committed by the trading participants or by the brokerage firms. These are primarily handled by the CMIC, considering our jurisdiction. And there may be also violations committed by the issuers or listed companies. So for trading-related irregularities or market manipulation, we may also exercise limited jurisdiction. We actually have the power to impose restriction, halt, or suspension orders with the concurrence of the PSE or the Philippine Stock Exchange. And there may also be violations by beneficial owners or investors, the customers themselves. How do they do this? In some instances, they may commit insider trading, or they may um, commit market manipulation. So in these instances, considering our limited jurisdiction, we endorse these cases to the SEC, or to the Securities and Exchange Commission, which has jurisdiction over the beneficial owners or the investors. And finally, we have violations of listing and disclosure rules. The PSE, or the Philippine Stock Exchange, has jurisdiction over these violations. So in the process of conducting surveillance, we actually monitor possible violations of the listing and disclosure rules. Okay, so how do we do surveillance? We actually have a sophisticated surveillance system which we acquired from the Korea Exchange, or from the KRX. This is what we call the Total Market Surveillance System, or TMS. Um, we monitor the trades in real time. So in other words, during trading hours, we monitor the trades being entered in the system. We also analyze disclosures. The disclosures are the issuances of the listed companies that may be material to trades entered into by the clients. So if there are certain trades that may be questionable or maybe assailable, we relate this to the disclosures issued by the listed companies. So in other words, do these disclosures support the trades being entered into by the investors? Of course, we evaluate trades, whether they are manipulative or not manipulative, or whether they may justify the drafting of an initial report. And also, of course, we detect abnormal or irregular trades. So finally, for audit, we conduct three classes of evaluations. We have the regular audit. This is based on an audit program approved by the Securities Exchange Commission. So recently, we have been conducting regular audits of the books and records of all the trading participants that are members of the Philippine Stock Exchange. We also conduct spot audits. These are based on certain parameters established by our rules. And finally, we have special audits. These are audits requested by the Investigation Enforcement Department in cases wherein the investors or certain investors file complaints against their trading participants or by their brokerage firms. Okay, so let's now go to the matter concerning investors' rights. So as mentioned by John earlier, if you do decide to open an account with a trading participant, or if you already have an account with a trading participant, you may ask, what are your rights as a shareholder or as a client of a trading participant or a brokerage firm? So since we are actually talking about fundamentals and basics, maybe we can define what a right is or what a legal right is. So based on an online information, a right is defined as something to which one has a just claim or something that one may properly claim as due. And similarly, a legal right is something that this is defined as an interest in a claim which is recognized by and protected by sanctions of laws by a state, which enables one to possess property or to engage in some transactions. So what are your rights, or what are you entitled to when you are considered or classified as a shareholder or a customer of a brokerage firm? We actually have a number of rights. The first one would be the right to full, accurate, and timely information. So being a shareholder, of course, you want to invest in something that you think would be beneficial to you. So what would be your basis for investing in such a share or security? Of course, you would be basing your decisions on trading on full, accurate, and timely information. So what are these information, or what is this information? This information would take the form of financial statements, and in some cases, in your trading, you may also look into the disclosures being issued by the listed companies. So under the disclosure rules, there are certain requirements that must be complied with by the listed companies in order to be compliant with those rules. So for certain information that may be pertinent or may be material for the shareholders, the listed companies are given a certain time for the disclosure of this material information. Usually it's 10 minutes from the time of occurrence of that material information. So you may this right may also be relative to the issuances of financial statements, the annual reports of listed companies. And of course, the tips or the recommendations given by the trading participants or brokerage firms to their clients. The second right would be the right to rely on the completeness, accuracy, and truthfulness of accounting and financial statements. Of course, being shareholders, you are of the presumption that the financial statements issued by the issuers are complete, accurate, and truthful. So how do we determine this, or how can we verify this? Of course, we must rely on the fact that these financial statements are authenticated by certified public accountants, okay, and also by regulatory authorities. Okay, the third right would be the right to have full access to funds in the account. So this is just a consequence of ownership over shares of stock, being a shareholder. Of course, relative to that, you may also want to know what your position is. So you actually have the right to demand from your stockbroker or from your brokerage firm the statement of account with regard to your shares or to your portfolio. So under our rules, the trading participant or the brokerage firm has to issue statements of account on a monthly basis. But if the investor requests that the statements of account be issued quarterly, they may do so. Okay, next, we have the right to fair and equal treatment. Of course, being shareholders, whether you're small or whether you have a large stock holdings or shareholdings, you expect to be treated fairly and equally by not only by the listed company but also by the brokerage firm. So for recommendations, you expect that the recommendations given to you by the brokerage firm is based on truthful information or verifiable document, and also in cases of conflicts of interest, such are avoided, or if they cannot be avoided, they are duly or timely disclosed to the client. So we also have the right to fair securities markets where trades are executed at the best possible price. So the shares listed in the exchange or the prices of such shares are reflective of the value given by the market to those shares. Okay, next right would be the right to vote and to exercise related rights. So being shareholders, of course, you have the right to manage the affairs of the corporation. So how do you do this? So this right is actually exercised during meetings of the shareholders. May mga tinatawag tayo na ASM. Those are the annual stockholders meetings. So during those events, you can actually exercise your right to vote over material matters involving the company. This may involve the election of directors, the amendment of the articles of incorporation, the acquisition or disposition of property of the company, and this may also involve the extension or the shortening of the corporate term and other related matters. Another right would be the right to expect the board, the management, the brokers, and agents to perform their functions responsibly. Of course, we have rules, and those rules would ensure that the interests and the rights of the shareholders are protected and enforced. So by doing this, we have the board, the management, the brokers, and the agents also have a concurrent obligation to perform their functions responsibly. So in recent years, we have certain updates with regard to corporate responsibility. So we have independent directors, and also corporate responsibility, yung social responsibility. So marami pang, we have a lot of improvements on how the corporations fulfill their duties and functions vis-a-vis the protection of the investors' rights and how their interests are protected. We also have the right to know dividend policy, to receive dividends, and to enjoy other benefits due to stockholders. So being shareholders, of course, you have share in the profits of that company. So this may take the form of dividends or the declaration of dividends. Dividends may be in the form of cash, property, or stock. Then we have the right to expect that the regulatory bodies are exercising supervision over the industry. So for listed companies and for brokerage firms, we actually have a number of regulatory authorities. We have, of course, the Securities and Exchange Commission, we have the Philippine Stock Exchange, and we have, of course, the CMIC or the Capital Markets Integrity Corporation. These entities ensure that the listed companies, that the brokerage firms are complying with all the relevant rules and securities laws. Okay, then we have the right of recourse in case of disputes concerning the account. Okay, as discussed earlier, whenever a complaint or whenever you have a problem or any dispute involving your trading participant or the listed company, of course, you have several remedies available to you. Of course, you can file a complaint with the SEC. You can also file a complaint with CMIC. And actually, CMIC and SEC exercise concurrent jurisdiction. And of course, for considering that jurisdiction is not unlimited, for cases involving compensation or for damages or for the award of damages, this may be properly filed with the regular courts. CMIC only exercises jurisdiction, administrative jurisdiction, and actually our jurisdiction would only be limited to the securities laws violations of trading participants and in some instances the listed companies. So in some cases, the customers or the clients ask us if we are authorized to grant damages. Actually, we cannot because that's actually beyond our jurisdiction. That may only be properly filed with the a complaint for damages may be filed with the regular courts, not with CMIC. Okay, for investor protection. So these are the safeguards promoting transparent, organized buying and selling of stocks, where every investor is protected from fraud, manipulative trading practices, and erring stockbrokers. What are the things that protect the interest of the investors? Actually, we have several of these safeguards. First, we have, of course, these regulatory organizations or the SROs. CMIC is a self-regulatory organization. Also, PSC is an SRO. So SRO basically is an entity that formulates policies and rules for their members in order that their members should comply with. SROs may also impose penalties in cases wherein the members are violative of those rules or are in violation of those rules. We have also the disclosure rules. Of course, for any information that may be relevant to the stockholders, of course, they want this information to be disclosed in a timely manner. So we have actually the disclosure rules to take care of that. So there are certain requirements that must be complied with, especially by the listed companies, in order for this material information to be duly disclosed to the public. We also have the customer first policy. This substantially entails the brokerage firms to give priority to the orders of the customers. So the orders of the clients take precedence over the orders of the brokerage firm or the house account. Okay, we also have the Securities Investors Protection Fund or the SIPF. This actually is similar to PDIC. So in cases wherein a brokerage firm commits a violation and it's ordered closed or suspended by the Securities and Exchange Commission, in some instances via a petition filed by CMIC for the takeover of operations of a certain trading participant, the investors or the clients of the trading participant may actually submit his claim or her claim to the SIPF. So para lang siyang insurance din. So if the funds of the concerned trading participant are insufficient to meet the demands of the clients, yung deficiency may be answered or may be addressed by the SIPF. Okay, so of course, we have the CMIC, which regulates the trading participants and in some instances, the listed companies. And we have the Total Market Surveillance System, which is the surveillance system of the CMIC, which monitors the trades and certain abnormalities or abnormal trades, irregular trades in the market. And finally, we have the risk-based capital adequacy. Actually, this is just a principle that must be a requirement that must be complied with by the brokerage firms. With regard to their capitalization requirements, we have a certain computation in order for us to determine if a certain brokerage firm is compliant with the capitalization requirements. The brokers are mandated to file bi-monthly reports of their RBCA, and in some instances, especially if there's a breach of the ratio, we require the brokerage firms to submit a daily report to us in order for us to monitor if the capitalization requirements have already been met. Okay, so that concludes our discussion. So if you have any problems with your brokerage firms or any issues relative to that, you may actually contact us. Our office is located at the PSC Tower, and our website is CMIC. It's www.cmic.com.ph. You may also send us an email through info@cmic.com.ph, and our trunk line is 63887644580. So thank you, John. That ends my discussion.
Thank you very much, Attorney Martin, for that very informative and important presentation, lalo na sa ating mga investors. While it's good to have the basic knowledge, the essential knowledge about investing in stocks, what, why, and how to invest in stocks, it's also important for the investors to know their rights and how to protect their rights as investors. Again, I would like to thank our participants for attending this Friday's stock market webinar, Back to Basics. If you need to get in touch with us, our contact details are in the screen. For corporate information, visit the corporate website, www.pse.com.ph. For disclosures, we've been promoting PSE Edge. Investing materials, you have PSE Academy. Please join our online community. We are on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's the Philippine Stock Exchange Inc. So marami pa kaming webinars na recorded na nandyan. So maganda siyang source of information also and learning for our participants. And of course, if you're not yet following our Facebook page, like and follow our Facebook page and click the subscribe button so that whenever we go live, you get notified. So we have 3 more webinars for you this quarter. So on February 19, we will be having a webinar on investing in real estate investment trusts. So for our participants who posted questions about REITs, I invite you to join that webinar on February 19. And on March 5, stock trading operations, and March 19, building a healthy investment portfolio. So it has been a learning-filled afternoon, everyone. And again, in behalf of the Philippine Stock Exchange, I would like to thank you for investing your afternoon with us. Again, this is John Garcia. I will see you all again next week. Wishing you a happy weekend. Bye-bye.